I welcome my select viewers to my 85th video of my YouTube channel Writer Sandhanam Speaks. Today I am going to speak again the war between Russia and Ukraine. With the nuclear war threatening the entire humanity, I, as a senior and concerned citizen of the world, is much worried as to the effects of the war. It is unlike the old wars between the kings. Modern technology is bringing the death and destruction in large measures to every one of the citizens in the world. So, it is the responsibility of the international community and the world leaders to put a stop to it as quickly as possible. In this connection, I am going to read out the second portion of my talk. Human thinking is a neurological defect. Thus spake U G Krishnamurti. The viewers all over the world are horrified and seeing the devastation and destruction on the TV screen for the past 10 days as a result of the war waged against its neighbor country of Ukraine by Russia. Both being Christian countries, why this war? The world wonders. The Christian Bible says, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." Leaving all their properties behind, the millions of people are daily fleeing to the nearby countries. It is not a war between the far-off aliens and the earthly man, but between man and man, between brother and brother. Viewing on the TV screens the magnificent and the beautiful buildings, including the residential structures, built with the great care and expenses, reduced to cinders by bombardment, and the helpless civilians fleeing their homes brings tears into the eyes of the world citizens, though not directly connected with the war. One also wonders and agrees with the words of the English poet William Wordsworth, "What man has made of man?" In the heat of war, even the victims, the Ukrainian people, have no clue as to why they are attacked and killed for no fault of theirs. Only the leaders of their countries may know the reasons. For a moment, the big sounding words like the NATO or the national boundaries have no meaning to them. Their immediate and foremost concern is to save them, their children, and their properties from the missile attack from the sky. Some have taken shelter under the underground bunkers. It includes our Indian students too. The whole country, a few days back, mourned the death of a medical student, Naveen, from Karnataka, killed in a crossfire when he came out from one of the bunkers to buy provisions and hit presumably by a missile. What was his cry? Even now, a few hundred Indian students are taking shelter under the bunkers, sending mobile messages to our government to bail them out. True, Indian authorities have successfully evacuated a few thousand students caught in the crossfire and trying its best to evacuate the rest. Bullets and missiles do not choose between friends and foes. It only knows the language of destruction. Look at the innocent children cuddled in the arms of their mothers, not knowing as to what is going around and wondering why their mothers are weeping. How could they know that the so-called matured people are only fighting and the so-called immature children like them have no hatred against anybody and they have no sense of national boundaries? Wars begin in the minds of men, declares the preamble to UNESCO, written on the heels of the end of the Second World War. This mind of man is a topic of my talk today. This statement indirectly confirms that so far as the arrogant and the greedy mind of man continues, wars will be born in his sick mind. Here comes the sage U G Krishnamurti, whom I personally stumbled into years ago in his last days. In one of his conversations, he threw this bombshell. I am going to quote him. Human thinking is born out of some sort of neurological defect in the human body. Therefore, anything that is born out of human thinking is destructive. One might question the first portion of his statement, that human thinking is born out of some sort of neurological defect in human body, but not the second portion. Therefore, anything that is born out of human thinking is destructive. U G gave proof of this. I quote, "The aeroplanes were invented by human thought to reduce the time and distance to reach its destination quickly. But see, the same human thought used the aeroplanes in the Second World War to destroy his fellow human beings. The technical developments man is so proud of may yield immediate benefits in many fields, like the electricity, medical facilities, but in the long run, it leads to its own destruction." Quotation ends. I connect it with the UNESCO Charter that wars are born in the minds of men. Mind is nothing but the human thinking with its desires, jealousy, pride, et al. Could anybody argue with this statement of U G? When somebody asked him, "U G, what is the way out?" Quick like an arrow came the reply, "You are doomed." He went on to say that you may label me as the prophet of doom, but I am focusing on the issue as it is. I was also one of the sad listeners when U G said this. But on reflection, my mind remembered the Hindu Shiva god and his celebrated dance. He dances to create, protect, and destroy the universe. Is he dancing the third dance now amidst the talk of the Third World War? His sounding drum on one hand may be compared to the bombardment, and his fire on the another hand as a threatening nuclear warhead. There is a telling poetic image in the Thiruvasagam of Tamil Bhakti literature. கோயில் சுடுகாடு கொல்பொலித்தோல் நல்லாடை தாயுமிலி தந்தையிலி தாந்தனையேன் காணேடி தாயுமிலி தந்தையிலி தாந்தனையேன் ஆயிடினும் காயில் உலகனைத்தும் கற்புடிதான் சாடேலோ. I paraphrase it. The abode of Shiva is the graveyard. His dress is a tiger skin. He has no parents and all alone. When angry, he destroys the worlds. When U G Krishnamurti said, "You are doomed," I saw his bent hand cutting the space like that of the dancing Shiva. But on behalf of the people of Ukraine and the world, I, the citizen of the world and worshipper of Shiva, crave on my bent knees and pray, "O Shiva, you may live in a graveyard and may not have parents and relatives, but for God's sake, do not turn this earth into a graveyard. We, the innocent citizens, have to protect our properties, kith and kin. Please postpone your deadly dance to another yuga. At present, please destroy the perverted mind of man that has led to the devastating wars and make them understand there is no difference between the victor and the vanquished in the war. Let peace must be ensured at any cost between the countries, both being the Christian countries, that is Russia and Ukraine. They should reread the biblical sentence on peace. Peace that passeth understanding." Amen.